Hey, ho, ho, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is FYI Reports, and we are live. And of course, we're live because I made a little intro music error. We're going to keep that in there because we all make mistakes. It happens. Um, it You get over it and you make it work, and you fundamentally fix what's broken, and you go from there. I mean that there's nothing more you can really do or say about it. Is if something happens, you just have to go on and move on and remedy to a solution in what you're doing. And welcome to the program. We are live, and we're here, and I hope you're going to enjoy the program. And hopefully, no more major issues than the minor one we just had. It it happens. So there's that. Uh, it happens when, especially, you press the button too quickly, and that is exactly what I did to cause the little issue of the little hiccup. So it's over and done with, and we're gonna move on to stories because that's what we do here at FY Nation Reports. I want to go to the My Pillow guy first, Mike Lindell. This is a good little tale here, and I'm quite happy to talk about this. I, just oversaturated right winger, and yet he claims he does not get any. He does not get enough press. He claims, and he claims that he does not get enough action. Hi, Jim. How are you? 8 o'clock. We're here. Fix things. And Jim's here, which is always awesome. My fellow guy. Let's do this, shall we? The My Pillow guy seems to think that we should, I don't know, take him seriously. That's weird to me. He seems to think that there's something there when there is nothing. So that is one reason not to take him seriously. But Mike Lindell is a right-wing, big lie, Trump-supporting tramp who thinks that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. Mr. Lindell has lashed out at the media because, unlike them and us, they're not covering him and taking his crazy conspiracy theories seriously, and taking his promise that we would get information from the former crackhead actually in any sort of good way to prove what he's trying to prove, which is essentially, it's kind of hard to prove a lie. So you're not going to actually get that information. So here he is, Mike Lindell, trying to prove a lie, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm going to bring out proof. The media is not covering my proof. Why are you not covering my proof? You should be covering me and my proof. Media, where are you? The media sucks because they're not covering my proof." Yet the story we got from Raw Story is, in fact, covering the fact that Mike Lindell, former crackhead, has some kind of proof to back up his conspiracy theories, but it's not out yet. Yeah, you better cover me. But the proof here that I say I have isn't ready yet. Pray tell, how does that work? How do you go, I have information, cover me, but not till Thursday? This is like the old hamburger guy that we had. Remember him from the what was it, Popeye series, I think, or it was the Warner Brothers series, whichever one it was, where the guy would be, "I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger you give me today." Well, Mike Lindell is saying, "I will gladly give you information Thursday if you cover me today, is essentially what Mike Lindell is doing. He wants us to cover his crackpot ideas. So, okay, Mike Lindell, we'll cover your crackpot ideas and play the videotape that we have of Mr. Mike Lindell on a right wing talk show that I guess takes him seriously for some reason.
We are the preliminary injunction. The first one in the United States is going to come out on Thursday. We're looking at Thursday if everything goes right. Now, I'm not going to give all the details. There's a lot of surprises. It's going to shock the country, as a matter of fact, how we're doing these and how they're going down. So all you journalists out there that are watching, you know who I'm talking about. All you that write the stupid stories on, this subpoena, that subpoena. How about talking about the biggest crime in history, and how about these preliminary injunctions and what we're doing with the evidence? Well, we're taking the evidence from the machines because we know what's inside them, and that's ES and S2.
And we're taking the evidence and we're making it up as we go along, I guess. And all you journalists out there, you better cover the storm that we are talking about, because that's what you need to do. Really, Mike Lindell? Give me a break. Mike Lindell is thinking that the media should be all tweaked up on this information he's spreading. Kind of like how he seems to be all tweaked up on it, and he wants the media to spread it around like an STD. Mr. Lindell is only taken seriously at all because he buys, let's face it, pillow ads and has the ear to a former president, Donald Trump. God knows what the so-called information is that the pillow man himself is bringing out. We don't know what he's going to bring to the table, but much like his symposium, it will probably be just another goose egg as opposed to anything actually factual or intelligible or anything that will actually make a difference in this. Jim says, traded a crack addiction for a BS addiction. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He went from a crack addiction to a BS addiction, and it's sad, but it's true that he's a peddler in BS. There's no actual winning here. In fact, Donald Trump isn't even winning an election. This is settled. Right? This is settled. We've settled this. We know what happened in the election. We know what happened in the election. We do not need to go any further. But he's so desperately and hung up on bringing this information about. Mike Lindell is so pathetic. It's not even funny. And the only reason he's even covered, Mike Lindell is even talked about on a regular, it's because he's a multimillionaire. He happens, this guy was on Speaker's Corner in England spouting crackpot ideas. We wouldn't take him seriously, and rightly so. We shouldn't take him seriously. But instead, this crackpot is on national TV and internet webcasts talking his junk. We should not take Mike Lindell seriously. But he has an ear to the former president, and he believes his nonsense, and he drinks his own Kool-Aid. So unfortunately, oh my God, here we are with the nonsensical, lunatic ramblings of a guy who, in a normal society, would put in a funny farm because that's where he belongs. But yet he has more clout than most people deserve, which is scary in and of itself. But cover his stories, folks. Otherwise, you're part of the problem. and you don't want to be part of the problem. You want to solve the problem. So cover the stories that Mike Lindell is peddling. Get dagnabbit. Cover those stories, okay? All right. So there's that. We have Mike Lindell peddling his pillow nonsense, and then we go to Newsmax. Gotta love Newsmax. They're one of the they're a right wing outlet, and they've been around for a while. They're getting some bad coverage for good reason, and I'm totally okay with this. If you do something, and I got pictures, so if you're listening on the podcast or not video, you're gonna miss the pictures, but I got pictures, and I love this. They're trying so hard, and they're so desperate to be somebody that just a little bit of I don't know, critical thinking would probably be the best thing. A little bit of critical thinking, you would know that this thing does not belong here where it is, and yet they cannot be bothered to do the critical thinking that is necessary to make it happen, to get to the point where they can be taken seriously, which is good for us because it makes for a funny story, but bad for them because it makes them look pathetic. And I guess that's kind of the thing of today's show. People behaving badly. So there's that. Newsmax came out with a list of black people who are influential conservatives. And they added a white guy, according to Raw's story. The list of those included were former Sheriff David Clark, Herman Cain, who's dead, by the way, Ben Shapiro, who's white, and Dr. Ben Carson. Now, in 2020, Herman Cain died of COVID-19, and as anybody who can see, Ben Shapiro is white. Newsmax was doing a story on conservatives getting grief for being black and conservative. They couldn't find any women like Mia Love or Candace Owens. The right-wing protector had a dead guy and a white guy on their list instead of having, I don't know, a little bit of equality, which is sad. So let's go real quick to the picture here, because again, all you had to do, by the way, is just look, take a look. Hey, there's Ben Shapiro. Oh, there he is. There he is. But Ben Shapiro should not be on the list of conservatives that are black, unless you're colorblind. And then that's a whole nother question and topic, but Newsmax, sad. And one could argue that Newsmax lives in a colorblind world, as we said, or you could say that Newsmax doesn't know how to do simple research. This is another way a conservative outlet marginalizes brown people. They can't even get a list of black folks who are conservative to promote properly. So here they are. They are trying to get some clout for the right wing, black people, and they throw in a white guy. Because apparently, according to Jim, blacks and Jews look the same to them. Yeah, apparently. I guess that's it. Blacks and Jews look the same, and that's it. The best you can do in this case for Newsmax is pretty much what I said earlier. Newsmax is desperate to live in a colorblind society. So in that desperation to live in a colorblind society, Newsmax is willing to say, you know what, folks, Ben Shapiro is a part of the black crowd that peddles conservatism. That's what he is. He's a part of the black crowd. Because we live in a colorblind society, don't we? Don't we? Oh, Jesus. They can't. Simple research. Just it's not hard. Just do your simple due diligence and look. Not for very long, too, by the way. You don't have to look at the picture very long to figure out that Ben Shapiro is a white guy. That's simple. That's easy. It's, dare I say, elementary. So there is that. Don't you love it? Don't you just love how the right can't even get simple? They want us to discuss science and who's a man and who's a woman, but the right can't even get simple black and white issues done properly. Oh, there's a black guy, but he's white. No, he's black, but he's white. No. Come on. We got to take Newsmax seriously. Pathetic. Just absolutely, fundamentally pathetic. And it's sad that this is where we're at. But here we are, where Newsmax can't even tell the difference between a black guy and a white guy. And not to mention, they throw in a dead guy. Oh Lord, this is where we're at, folks. Slightly and overwhelmingly pathetic. So next up on the list is a fun one. I love this story because this one is straight out of the Donald Trump playbook, and I have the video for you that we're gonna run for the ad. So he's going to get free airtime. But we're going to mock it so badly that I don't think he would want to be here. But this is the narcissistic, egotistical way of the right wing and how they behave and who they are. This is, if you want to know who the right wing of today is, you need to go to this guy in Arizona. You need to just look at the ad. You need to see how he's built and go, yeah, that's a Republican. Whether it's him or Mitt Romney, it doesn't matter. They're all the same breed. They are all running the same way. And it is all exactly, fundamentally the same. They literally do not change. They are exactly the same in how they behave. And their behavior is exactly what he puts out in the video. Usually the difference is they don't say it, right? They don't come out and say, hi, this is me. Hello, hi, pay attention to me. This is who I am. This is what I am. Jim says, rightly so, different flavors of a shit sandwich. And I don't know how more correct you can be, but this is it. And it is fundamentally sad that this is where we're at. But yet again, like Newsmax, they drove us to this road, and we're just along for the ride. It is where we're at. So Jim Lemon is Lamon, Lamon. I don't know why I have a hard time with his name. Is Jim Lemon, and he's trying to replace Senator Mark Kelly, and he is acting as if something divine happened with his messaging, but unfortunately it's hitting a sour note. Even a right-wing Christian, Darlene Parker, thinks the ad has gone too far, saying when you go too far to the right, you piss people off, and they go out of they go the other way. I get offended at that holier than thou attitude, Packard said. The ad is trying to pay the self-funded candidate as a savior, like I said, and like Jesus, and it should make even the most devout cringe. It's arrogant, it's narcissist, and it's straight out of the Donald Trump playbook, saying that only he could do this and that he is going to be the one to defeat Senator Mark Kelly. Only he will be able to do it. And only he could come up with an ad like this if you are this narcissistic and this just willing to put yourself out there in this kind of horrific way. And here is the ad. This is just horrific.
These are dark times, times of plague and turmoil, wars and rumors of war. But we must never forget, even in our darkest days, Almighty God is in charge. He has a plan. With faith, He will show us the way. Easter, when darkness and despair were transformed into light and hope. A new dawn is coming to America. I'm Jim Lehman, and I approve this message.
So Jim Lehman made that ad. I think I know what he was going for, and he was going for that old Ronald Reagan city on a hill type of messaging with the bright lights and something to look into the distance and see a brighter American future. I think he was trying to go for that. Instead, it was a dystopian kind of painting that was just foul. It's creepy. The whole ad from Jim Lehman is just a creep fest. And I don't know, like rational Christians, I don't know them to see themselves this way. Yeah, and Jim points out it was weak and nothing exploded. My head exploded though, watching the ad. I don't understand, like, how you can be that arrogant and narcissistic. I don't understand how you could take the view that here we have a guy that thinks only I can save you from famine and disease and petulance and all these things straight out of the Bible. Only I can save you. I mean, Jesus Christ doesn't even go that so far. You know, other people, maybe not so much him, said he is the truth, the light. Oh, maybe he did say that. I just defeated my own argument. But saying you are the truth, the light, the way, defeats the argument there. But that goes back to Jesus. Only Jesus is the truth, the light, the way. To, like, I don't know, cock block Jesus and say, well, for Arizona, I am the truth, the light, the way, is the most narcissistic, the only word I can come up with, way to tell us again. Let's just watch it go for the ad again. This is the ad. Try not to throw up in your mouth.
These are dark times, times of plague and turmoil, wars and rumors of war. But we must never forget, even in our darkest days, Almighty God is in charge. He has a plan. With faith, He will show us the way. Easter, when darkness and despair were transformed into light and hope. A new dawn is coming to America. I'm Jim Lehman, and I approve this message.
So Jim Lehman is proclaiming that he is the new dawn. He is the new light to defeat Mark Kelly. How arrogant and narcissistic are you to believe that this is who you are? This is Donald J. Trump level of I can go to Fifth Avenue and I can pull out a gun and I can shoot someone. Arrogance. This is that level of arrogance that we're dealing with when it comes to dealing with the right wing. Do you want him in Senate? Do you want him anywhere near the halls of leadership? He's literally cock blocking Jesus Christ, saying, "I am the Savior. Only I can fix it." Arizona, have some faith in me. This is also another example of why prosperity, Christianity, and the Republican Party collide to work so well together. Because only somebody in the worst part of any kind of faith would believe that if you put anything, donations or any goodwill, whatever it is, any of that, if you put any of that towards Jim Lehman to do anything good, the answer is going to be goose egg every time. It's just, the ad is horrible, he's horrible, and anybody that arrogant should be nowhere near the Capitol. And glad he's self-funded, because I wouldn't want to waste my money on a donation for that guy. Just saying. Would you want to waste your money on that guy? And the sad thing is, Jim, you're right. The Arizonans might actually like him. And that should frighten everyone in that fact. The Arizonans might actually think, "Oh, this is a good idea." So there's also that. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, more stories, and I'll play the right music. And you're listening to FYI Reports with me, Tom Reynolds, your host.
Welcome to 2022 Talks, where we're following our democracy in historic times.
The Russians have already stepped up their missile and rocket attacks, and it's having quite destructive effect. And I think this is going to get much more intense.
Former CIA Russia analysis chief George Beebe on the developments in Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Pentagon says it estimates that Moscow has added thousands of troops to the country in recent days. Russia declared on Tuesday that it's now on the offensive for control over Ukraine's industrial heartland. President Joe Biden responded to a district court ruling striking down a CDC mask mandate for public transportation. His comments came as he briefly spoke with reporters during a tour of the New Hampshire Port Authority.
Mr. President, should people continue to wear masks on planes?
That's up to them.
Moderna announced Tuesday that a new version of the company's COVID-19 vaccine appears to provide stronger, longer-lasting protection against coronavirus variants. Preliminary results show the so-called bivalent vaccine appears to produce high levels of antibodies. Vice President Kamala Harris says the U.S. will no longer conduct anti-satellite missile tests, the practice of using ground-based missiles to destroy satellites in orbit around Earth. Speaking at Vandenberg Space Force Base, Harris called on other countries to make the same commitment.
These weapons are intended to deny the United States our ability to use our space capabilities by destroying our satellites.
A National Labor Relations Board judge has ruled that Amazon must reinstate a former warehouse worker and owed him back pay for discriminatory discharge. Gerald Bryson was fired for protesting safety conditions at the beginning of the pandemic. What could unionization efforts by Amazon and Starbucks employees mean for the future of labor movement in the U.S.? Century Foundation senior fellow Stephen Greenhouse noted the trend Tuesday on C-SPAN.
The floodgates opened up, the dam broke. So now we've seen workers at over 200 Starbucks petitioning to hold union elections.
A judge has ruled a group of Georgia voters can proceed with their case against Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene that seeks to disqualify her from congressional office over her alleged involvement in the U.S. Capitol riot. The Biden administration on Tuesday said it will now require federal agencies to conduct an analysis of the greenhouse gases that could be emitted over the lifetime of proposed infrastructure projects, as well as how climate change might affect new highways, bridges, and other infrastructure. I'm Nadia Ramlagan for Pacifica Network and Public News Service. Find our 8 trust indicators to support transparency and accuracy at publicnewsservice.org.
Hey, ho, ho, everybody! Welcome back. Happy 420. Hope you if you celebrate 420, hope you had a good day. Happy Ramadan, happy Passover, happy Easter, yada yada yada. So have a happy everything, and we're here, we're live. We got 1, maybe 2 more stories left. I think I could do this Mitt Romney story the whole half hour because I really don't like Mitt Romney. I think he's a greasy slime ball. I think anybody who sticks with Mitt Romney in any kind of way is wrong and just out of touch. And I think that Mitt Romney is just trying to get his name in the paper. In this case, he wrote the article with his name in the paper for the Wall Street Journal. So there's that for you. So Romney has always been problematic. The car elevator guy and self-made millionaire when he's really not. He again is a lot like Donald Trump, which is comical that they don't like each other all that much, it seems, because they are pretty much the same person. The only difference between Mitt Romney and our friend Donald Trump is that Mitt Romney has the better breeding of the two and does not show all the qualities that our friend Donald Trump shows with an outside voice. He shows them with his inside voice, but his outside voice that Mitt Romney has is a lot quieter and is a lot more professional, if you will. And so he can be a media darling. And Donald Trump, on the other hand, is just the loud elephant in the room, and it is as annoying as me saying I'm trying not to say it so much, but unfortunately it is what it is. That being said, you're listening to FYI Reports. I am here live on 420 Day, and we're going to talk Mitt Romney and his Wall Street Journal report from article from The Hill, because it matters, because he is showing his conservative bona fides, bona fides, and we need to have a little bit of a discussion about that to point out the many flaws in what he is telling. Like any typical Republican, it's full of flaws, and here we are. So he is trying to be earning some Trump cult bona fides by blaming woke people in the Biden administration for its failings, according to the Hill's reporting. He wrote the piece in the Wall Street Journal, as we mentioned, and the senator said, "A new set of priorities requires a new set of principles." Telling this to President Biden. President Biden needs to ditch his woke advisors and surround himself with people who want to get the economy working again. Unemployment is record low, by the way. Romney blames Biden's policies on the supply chain issue and regulation in the piece that he wrote, saying the following. The Biden administration did pretty much everything wrong, injecting $1.9 trillion into a supply constrained economy, sending out stay-at-home checks, letting tenants live rent-free, squeezing oil and gas production, launching an avalanche of growth-killing regulations, lining up behind unions, and pushing, another deficit financed budget. Romney was for it before he was against it, because on his own website, he touts how great the American relief is for COVID-19. So it's hard to tell which side the Utah senator is actually on. Senator Romney, for his part, thinks Biden should hit on the Federal Reserve and be more like Trump, and not to do any of the proposed safety net increases that President Biden has said we need, according to the whole article. Democratic folks need to be reminded regularly that Mitt Romney is no friend of ours. The senator ran against President Obama back in the good old days and the Republican ticket, and he equally votes for Republican policies when it suits his interest. Just because Senator Romney gets things right like a clock every once in a while, it should not endear himself to any self-proclaimed liberal, Democrat, or progressive for that matter. Romney is and always will be toxic to the Democratic cause and goes where the political wind blows. And instead of actually doing things on principle, Mitt Romney just sways around. Mitt Romney's biggest problem is that he is Mitt Romney and has no core set of beliefs other than to go for what he will benefit, which is his bottom line. Just like any other Republican. And that is really the point, isn't it? The Mitt Romney we know and hate. The Mitt Romney we talk about. The Mitt Romney that is writing this Wall Street Journal piece is Donald Trump. He is any other Republican. He just has the ability to greaseball himself up, to be able to show himself as this guy from Utah or Massachusetts or whatever state his latest mansion is in. And he is able to fundamentally do the things the way he sees fit as a Republican. Because he is a Republican. He gets things every once in a while right. And it should be pointed out that Mitt Romney gets things right every once in a while. Clocks are like that. You can set your watch by it. I mean, it's elementary that this should happen. So it doesn't make him anything but a media spectacle, and it shouldn't make him the media darling and go-to Republican maverick like John McCain was. He is no friend to the Democratic Party. He should not be lauded by Democrats as someone that you could work with and someone that you could have to your corner and someone who you can trust. Mitt Romney is the opposite of all those things. Mitt Romney is, again, for Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney only thinks of himself. Mitt Romney is trying to, if he's running again or if he's not, trying to do things for Mitt Romney. It should be very clear to everyone. So don't get yourself caught up. Do not allow yourself to become so caught up in this love affair with Mitt Romney because Mitt Romney might have said the right thing in the right way when 90% of the time he votes and sides with his party because he's a Republican. This is a guy who does not want to have an increase in the social safety net. This is a guy who does not believe in making it right for American people, for the American people. This is a guy who would be more than happy to privatize your Social Security and your Medicare. This is Mitt Romney. This is the real guy. Okay? This is the real Mitt Romney. The real Mitt Romney wants to privatize anything that has been socialized that makes Americans prosperous. And you should take heed by that. And you should take comfort in knowing that there are Democratic people out there that are smart enough to know that Mitt Romney is just as bad, if not worse, than Donald Trump. Because you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all the time. Because Mitt Romney, while a wolf in sheep's clothing, is nothing more than that. He is just trying to pull one over on the people that he sees as his people. And he said it before. Remember that famous video that came out during the election with Obama, where he talked about who his people are. This is Mitt Romney. This is who he's talking to. He's not talking to us plebs, us peasants. He doesn't care about the ordinary people in America. That is, again, another reason in the bucket list of reasons that Mitt Romney should never be given any kind of chance in the Democratic side of things. Just because he happens to do the right thing every once in a while is nice, and again, should be something that's celebrated. But once a snake, always a snake. And when you see a snake, you beat it. That way you can win. It's bad enough he's in power. It's bad enough that he is celebrated in many parts of the media. We don't need to give him any more leverage than he already has. We don't need to add to it. So when I see my liberal and Democratic friends and progressive friends saying how great Mitt Romney is because Mitt Romney got something right, well, good for him. Give him a cookie and tell him to move on with his life. Because that's all he deserves. He does not deserve anything other than, okay, you did that right. You got one right. It's not something that should be continually celebrated and given a pass for all the things that, and I almost said Donald Trump, but all the things that Mitt Romney has gotten wrong. Look, let me show that. Just because he doesn't talk like, play this. Just because he doesn't talk like this.
You know, they say that in Russia, The people in Russia don't even know they're having a war because they have a rigged press. We have the same rigged press. Maybe not.
Just because he is well-mannered and talks eloquently and has the nice suit and tie and has the greased hair and is able to present himself in a likable way to the media does not mean and translate to Mitt Romney is on your side. Again, Mitt Romney's side is himself. You interchange Donald Trump and Mitt Romney, you are going to get the same pile of bodunk. You are not. It's not going to be something that is going to be able to be changed. It's going to be exactly the same pile. You will get. You will achieve the same result if you say, "Okay, Mitt Romney over Donald Trump." They're exactly the same because they are principally Jim Lemon, who we talked about earlier. They are principally the same guy who will believe that only they can fix it, only their solution is the best. This is why you should go with them, and this is why you'll be better off. Let's just face that fact. Face it right now. Get it out of the way. Understand that it's a real thing and that we have to deal with it. Excuse me. Because only then can we win one over the Republican Party. And we need to do more winning. We need to be able to achieve more. We need to get more Mitt Romneys out of the political circle. Because they'll do fine. They'll do just fine on the stock exchange. And with a mutual fund. They'll do just wonderful. Nobody's crying over Mitt Romney's wealth or the ability for him to achieve wealth. So the less Mitt Romneys in the world that we have, the better off we'll be. And don't for a second believe that he is on the side of the Democratic person or the liberal or the progressive. He is not. Because again, I'll read you the part of the article because this should say all you need to know from the Hill article that we have here. It should say all you need to know about Mitt Romney and who and what Mitt Romney is. So this is who and what Mitt Romney is. The Biden administration did pretty much everything wrong. Injecting $1.9 trillion into a supply-constrained economy, sending out stay-at-home checks, letting tenants live rent-free, squeezing oil and gas production, launching an avalanche of growth-killing regulations, lining up behind unions, and pushing yet another deficit-financed budget. That's what Mitt Romney wrote. Does that sound like a guy who is on the side of the Democratic Party? No, that sounds like a guy who occasionally gets it right while he's singing in the shower. Mitt Romney believes that the Federal Reserve was exacerbated by the economic policies of the president. So it's the Congress's fault for passing coronavirus relief, which we needed, and which, by the way, Donald Trump would have done, but left it to Joe Biden. But they would have done the same thing, but somehow he's wrong for doing it. Giving people checks and letting tenants have a way to keep their housing was something to prevent a crisis from becoming an avalanche. Joe Biden did the right thing. Even Donald Trump would have done the right thing had he been president. But instead, it's the cool thing to do to now blame Joe Biden. This is all Joe Biden's fault. Let's go, Brandon. Mitt Romney is aiding and abetting the Republicans because he's straight out Republican. He does what is good for him that will help his bottom line. He will not go and help the poor and the middle class, because that would mean sending out checks. That would mean making them able to stay possibly rent-free. So he won't help the poor and the middle class. He'll just let them wane. He didn't want to help the bankrupt auto dealers either. This is the same Mitt Romney who wanted the auto industry in Detroit to collapse. This is that guy. Mitt Romney is a poison pill. Mitt Romney is a pure capitalist. And that's okay if you like that sort of thing. If you're okay with that sort of thing, by God, be a champion for Mitt Romney. I am not a fan. I think that Mitt Romney is what is wrong with the party politic today. I think Mitt Romney is the principal problem that we have in dealing with a democratic society. Because Romney is so two-faced, he will go on his website and say, yeah, that's a great thing. And then months later, write in an op-ed on the Wall Street Journal how bad the thing was. Because it's now politically convenient and it's a way for him to get his conservative bona fides out. Because he may or may not run for Senate again. And he has to prove himself to the Trump and Z crowd. So he has to say and act and be a conservative and a right-winger. So listing all those things that he listed is anti-union, anti-regulation, I'm sure women is in there, and CRT and LGBTQ. He just didn't bother to list them in the Wall Street Journal thing because he's trying to stay on the right side of things. He's trying to be the media darling. I mean, he wants to be a media darling. That's okay. Mitt Romney can be a media darling all day long. Mitt Romney is only a friend to himself. Any Republican is only a friend to their bottom line. They are not friends to what we are trying to do. That needs to be understood. That needs to be clear. That needs to be shouted from the rooftops. And just because, again, they get something right, much like a clock, even every day, does not mean it's not like taking ivermectin. Supporting Mitt Romney to do anything is the equivalent of saying, I'm going to go take ivermectin for COVID-19. You should not take ivermectin. You should not equally support Mitt Romney. Because what good is it going to do for you if you support Mitt Romney? None. He's told you in the op-ed. Mitt Romney used his loud voice, and he's come out and said what he purports to be the problem of why things are bad now. Joe Biden's fault. Notice in there, he doesn't have any solutions. Because they never actually have any solutions. And this is typical of the party that wants to be in charge, that is desperate to gain power back. And you should do everything in your power, everything that you can do to muster the Democratic Party stays in control of the Congress, of the Senate, and the House. You do not need someone like Mitt Romney doing more than just being on the Sunday morning talk shows. It's not good for your health. It's a detriment to your health. If you have someone other than, I don't know, Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, hell, even Nancy Pelosi, far better choices than Mitt Romney. Because again, I'll play this. This is a reminder to all my friends. This is a very simple reminder for them, not coming from me, but coming from Tim Lieu, representative. And I'll play this piece before we had, I'm sorry, Ted Lieu, or is it Tim? We found the piece. Can I find the piece? And I don't think I have it anymore. Here it is. Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. President Joe Biden has done an awesome job creating jobs. He is a jobs president. Last year, 6.6 million jobs were created. In the last 14 months, working with congressional Democrats, 7.4 million jobs were created, the most in United States history. Democrats are building a better America for the future and for the people.
So if you ask Ted Lieu, representative of California, Biden and his programs and his policies are doing what's correct. If you ask Mitt Romney, all that progress that Ted Lieu talked about is nothing, is fantasy island. And that to me is pig-headed, and that to me is arrogant, and that to me is another reason why Mitt Romney does not need to be anywhere near the halls of power for more than being on talk shows as a pundit. He wants to do first-class punditry for the conservative movement, let him. He wants to write law and continue being some kind of leadership role in Congress. That should scare you. That should be a hard pass. Smart people understand this. People who listen and watch this show understand that Mitt Romney is no friend of the Democratic person or party or anything in between. On that note, hope you have a happy 420. Thank you for sticking around with me. This is our very first show of FY Nation Reports that went well. And I am happy that you're here, and I'm happy that you stayed along. And I am thrilled that we'll be back tomorrow for another show. So original programming is here because you contribute to FYNation.com. Please consider contributing. And thank you guys for watching and listening.